So the forms will not function properly without the following processes or source files. So first is the db connection .php. So it is used to establish a connection to a MySQL database using the MySQLi extension. So first we need to do is to set the database connection parameters. So the server name, so the variable contains the host name or the IP address of the MySQL server. Password, so this variable contains the password associated with a username. So in this example, it's empty, which means there is no password set for the root user. So the db name parameter, so this variable contains the name of the MySQL database to which the script wants to connect. So the example is the we set the name of our database to a student underscore management underscore system. So first is to establish the database connection. So the con is the variable is used to store the connection object created by the MySQLi constructor. So it attempts to establish a connection to MySQL server using the provided server name, username, password, and maybe database name. So if the connection is successful, the con parameter will hold the connection object, so allowing you to interact with the database. So after these codes runs, you can use the con variable to perform various database operations such as querying data, inserting records, updating information, and more. So next is the registration process. So this PHP source file or code simply handles the registration form submission. So first is we have here the line session start. So it initiates a session allowing the script to store and access session variables. So next line is the including the database connection or the external PHP file called the dbconnection.php. So presumably this file contains the code necessary to establish a database connection using MySQLi. So we have the if statement, which is about handling form submission. So the line if server, so that checks if the form has been submitted using the post method. So the post method must be defined in the form in the register form we created. So next is the student ID, kanang mga student ID number equals to post. So these lines retrieve the form data submitted by a post method. So and pinastore nila ang mga respective variables. So the password is hash using the password hash as you observed in the last line for the password for security. So if so this conditions checks if the username and password are not empty and if the username is not a numeric value. So it will execute the line query if the above condition is met. So it constructs an SQL query to insert the user data into a table called users. So kanang SQL query query, so kanang line is it executes the SQL query using the database connection established in dbconnection.php. So kanang after that, so kanang the echo, so if the user data is successfully inserted into the database, an alert message is displayed and the user is redirected to the login page. So if not, it will alert please provide valid details and the user will be directed back to the register page. Next is the login process. So this PHP source file or code handles the authentication process when a user submits a login form. So first is same with the register, the session start. So it will store an about sessions. So next is the db connection. So this line includes an external PHP file called dbconnection.php, same with the register process. So next is the condition. If server request method is equal to post, then the method will retrieve the username and password submitted by a post method and store them in respective variables. So if username is not empty, and the password is not empty, and it is not numeric. So that condition will check if the username and password are not empty and if the username is not a numeric value. So we have the query select all from users line. So that line or code constructs an SQL query to select user data based on the submitted username. It then executes the query and stores the result in the result variable. So if result is numbers is greater than to 0, so that means that if the query is successful and it turns at least one row, the code fetches the user data and uses password verify function to check if the submitted password matches the hash password stored in the database. So if the verification succeeds, the user is redirected to the dashboard.php page and the script execution is terminated with a die. So if the username or password is incorrect, an alert message is displayed and the user is redirected back to the login page. So that's just simply the process on how we can apply the POST method, the API POST, particularly the POST method, the API or the application programming interface, particularly the POST method in a simple login and registration form using PHP, HTML, CSS. So that was all for the process on how does our login and registration form works.